man, it just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? This whole experience isn't about simply enduring hardship for the sake of it. No, it's about using that physical discipline as a tool to build something much deeper. Real inner strength, patience, and self-control.
Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about Ramadan, but maybe not just as a date on the calendar. We're going to dive into what makes it such a profound, month-long journey, a time that's really designed for inner transformation. It's all about changing hearts, so let's see how that actually happens.
In this quote,
So what's the big idea here? What's the premise? Well, at its core, Ramadan is like hitting the pause button on our crazy daily routines. It's all about creating a quiet space, a kind of stillness that gives our hearts a chance to, reconnect with our purpose and our better selves.
And here's the fundamental trade-off, you could say. The physical acts, the hunger and thirst, they aren't the point in and of themselves, not at all. They are the method. They're what you use to tip the scales away from the physical and toward the spiritual goal, which is all about cultivating patience and mastering self-control. It's a very deliberate choice to use your body to sharpen your soul.
Okay, so we've got the why down. Now, let's get into the what, the actual, tangible things people do every day that give the entire month of Ramadan its structure.
These are really the pillars of the whole experience. Of course, you have the most well-known one, fasting from dawn all the way to sunset. But look at how it's woven together with everything else. Consistent daily prayer, the act of giving charity to those in need, spending time reading scripture, actively helping the poor, and this is a big one, the practice of both giving and seeking forgiveness. It's a truly holistic framework for your entire day.
So, you see all of this and you have to ask, right? Why these specific actions? What is it about this particular combination of practices that really unlocks the potential for a genuine transformation?
And that question brings us to the very heart of the matter. We're moving past the external rituals now to uncover the true internal purpose. This is where we find the real engine that makes Ramadan work.
This line right here, it's basically the mission statement for the whole month. The idea is that the physical body is disciplined, not to punish it, but to quiet its constant demands so that you can finally hear, and more importantly, feed your soul.
You could call this whole idea a soulful practice. It's this intentional process where you say no to your physical needs for a little while, all to sharpen your focus on spiritual nourishment and growth. See, fasting isn't really the goal, it's the method you use to achieve a higher state of awareness.
All right, so if that's the goal, how do you actually get there? Let's talk about the path to change. What are the concrete, positive shifts in behavior and character that are supposed to come out of these practices? How does this journey actually show up in a person's life?
It really is a step-by-step process. First off, you're actively trying to shed those bad habits. You work on controlling your temper, on being more mindful and honest with your words. Then, you practice forgiveness, which is like cleansing your relationships. And that creates the space to really deepen your spiritual connection through prayer and reflection. And finally, you turn all that inner work outward, building empathy by sharing what you have with others. You can see how each step just builds on the one before it.
And when you put all that work in, what happens? Well, the result is kind of two-sided. On the inside, it's about finding this really profound sense of peace. But just as importantly, because practices like charity and forgiveness are so central, it strengthens the bonds of the entire community. It's a journey that is both deeply personal and powerfully shared.
So, as the month starts to draw to a close, what's the lasting impact? Let's talk about the culmination of this whole journey and the effect it's designed to have on a person long after the fasting is over. This whole spiritual marathon, it all leads up to this one really beautiful moment, the sighting of the Eid moon. That's the signal that the fast is over, and it kicks off the celebration of Eid al-Fitr, a time that's just filled with joy, community, and so much gratitude for having completed the journey. And this right here, this brings us to the most crucial takeaway of all. The calendar page is always going to turn. That's a given. That doesn't change. What is meant to change permanently and for the better is the person who went on the journey, the believer.
So that leaves us with one last thing to think about. The principles we've talked about here, discipline, reflection, connecting to a higher purpose to better yourself, these are pretty universal ideas. And it makes you wonder, outside of any specific tradition, what kind of journey of transformation could change you?